Hi my lovelies, welcome to another episode of McCall Media TV, whereby in today's video I'm going to teach you how to create and design your own deck of cards for your business so they could be used for coaching, for a board game, for strategy sessions, for, as I'm going to use them, social media prompts for ideas and that kind of thing. And you can obviously then sell them as a product in your business as a low cost, low risk item. So we are going to be using InDesign, we're going to be using Excel, and we're going to be using a text document, as well as looking at the supplier that we're going to print with as well. And even though I'm in the UK, we're going to be looking at the company that is in the US. Okay, so if you haven't been here before, please do subscribe, stay notified to my channel for other sort of business digital marketing strategies and ideas. Now, this is kind of a complex and slightly technical video, so I don't want to lose you. If this is something you're going to be hiring a graphic designer to help you achieve, I do suggest you watch the video because it's going to arm you and forewarn you with the knowledge and the process, so you can talk the talk and not get yourselves ripped off, as it were. But you can also, if you are a designer and you've been asked to do this for one of your business clients, this is the process that I am basically adopting for my business in order to produce some social media prompt cards for a tool and a product in my own business. So we're going to start with the file and the data itself, which is kind of the hardest bit in some respects, because you've got to conceptualize around 52 to 55 different topics and things to put on your card. So I'm just going to jump on over right now to my left hand monitor, where we can see that I have got this Excel data file already set up. Now, so that we can follow and track the fact that these are 52 different, or was it 55 different statements that we're going to be putting on the cards, I have actually just included the card 55, 50 numbers, etc, etc, on the actual card text. You guys won't necessarily do that, but I just wanted to be able to help you follow the logic of this tutorial. And I've also used Latin text because I don't want you to get bogged down with what I'm saying. I want you to look at the process and not the actual data itself. So the reason we have this column here, column B, that says count, is that we are going to sort all of these into the largest number of characters we're going to have to accommodate on our InDesign files. So I'm going to start off by, first of all, sorting this by putting my selected cell in the column heading row there, and I'm just going to add a filter ready for when we have applied our formula in a second. Now my cursor, or whatever you want to call it, is selecting the cell where the answer is going to go. I'm going to click on the formula or the function bar, and we're going to look at this one called len, which is the length of text, and it returns the number of characters in a text string. So we're going to click on OK. Now we've got to tell the formula which cell over here we're going to look at. So we're going to start with the one right next to it, and we're going to click on OK. And now you can see here, if you zoom in, that cell holds the value of 81 characters. And all we're going to do is move our cursor to the bottom right corner so we can literally copy that formula all the way down the column to our very last card. And now you can see that it has counted the characters in every piece of text that we're going to put on our card. Now that we've got this information populated, we can now finish sorting the largest to smallest. The reason I've used the filter and not just the regular A to Z filter sort up here is that if you're not doing this, using this tool correctly, you can actually misalign the text and the answers. So by using the filter tool, you sort correctly. Okay, so we can see here that my longest piece of text is 114 characters. So this is the biggest amount that we need to accommodate. And now that we've done this, we're going to save ourselves a lot of hassle when we're working with our InDesign file. So there's one more thing that we need to do, is now we need to actually just copy all of this information in column A, and we need to put it into an actual text field. So all I've done is open up Notepad, and I've literally copy and paste using my keyboard. And as you can see, each card of data is on a separate line. I am not using a CSV file. That's just to make our life a lot easier when we bring this data into InDesign, because InDesign doesn't particularly like CSV files. So I'm going to File, Save As, one I've prepared earlier, some of my Latin text. Yes, I'm going to overwrite it so you can see that process. And I'm just going to minimize both of these screens right now, just so that we can use them in a minute when we need them. The company we're going to use is a company called makeplayingcards.com, and I will put the URL below for you to be able to find in the description of this video. And as you can see from this hero image, let me just enlarge the screen. You can see here from this hero image that it has lots of different stock that you can choose from. There you go, 7 professional card stocks, and you can actually have them send you a sample pack as well as different ways to package your cards. And they also cover lots of different shapes and sizes. So the best advice I can say is go and have a play and get that sample pack. But for today, I am going to just work with the bog standard options in order to help you guys work through the process. They have lots of different cards and templates and all sorts you can download. But we're going to start by clicking on where it says game cards. As you can see, the red designs here, all shapes and sizes going on: squares, micros, minis, bridge cards, poker cards, trump cards, there's tarot cards, all sorts. But I'm going to scroll down because I'm looking for this little black symbol that says traditional size, and I want a landscape card. So I'm clicking on that because obviously I'm using these as a social media prompt and I want to put some text, and it's just nicer to read it that way, I think. Okay. And I'm just going to wait for the site to finish populating. So as you can see, it shows you all the different quantities and the price per unit per tier level of pricing structure. So for $13.90, so less than 15 quid, or far less than 15 quid in the UK, you can basically get yourself a sample and whatnot. Now have a look, this is where you check your stock. You can have bigger numbers of cards than 55, but if you think about it, a regular playing deck has 52 cards, couple of jokers and that kind of thing. In my case, I'm going to go with 54 cards and the 55th being an instruction, because that gives me 9 topics with 6 questions, prompts per topic, so that works out well. I'm going to do full colour print. They do give you a beta option, but I'm just going to leave it as is because it's only a few dollars difference, and you might as well, just for the sake of it, it's not even a coffee price different. I'm going to leave it shrink wrap because that's the cheapest way to receive it, although I could custom the box, a tin, or go with plain options, but I probably will get the boxes printed locally in the UK. Because I think it keeps the price down a lot for me shipping from the US. That's just my personal take on things, and I'm not going to include a booklet. So I'm going to crack on by clicking that red button. It's going to confirm that I'm designing 55 cards and that I'm shrink wrapping it. Now, whether you do this as the back card and the front card, or the front card and the back, whichever way you want to call it, whether it's the fascia and your logo's going on the back and then you've got the text on the front, or vice versa, it doesn't really matter because you're going to get to design both options anyway. So at the top of this bar, we have the 5 steps in this process. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, for the moment, I'm going to call the front of my card where I put my logo, because it's just easier to skip through this stage. So I'm going to put the same image, and I have already designed this, so I'm going to show you this upload process. It's real quick. So you click on it, you navigate to where you store the file in your computer, you click on open, that loads the image into the website, and then you just drag the image from right to left. That populates it on the front of all of the cards. Job done. Step number 2. Okay, so if I hadn't put text on my card, maybe I was using a beautiful scenic photo and I just wanted to say Angie's Cards, I could now add some text, colour that text, choose the font, style it, align it, bold it, etc., change the size, and that's where you would play here. But I'm going to skip on past this because I've done that as part of my image. And then we get to the back of the card. So this is obviously going to be very different on every single card. It's going to have its own unique message, playing cards, etc. So again, because I'm not adding text itself, I've done it all through my images. I'm going to click on different images for all the backs of the cards. And what it's basically doing now is it is populating placeholder files for essentially 55 cards. Now, the reason we are using InDesign and not Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator is because I don't want to sit there and design 55 cards one after another and then save, export, JPEG, okay? So we're going to use InDesign, which allows us to mail merge essentially our data file with our graphics file, and it will combine the two and create another file which will have essentially 55 pages in it, and then we're going to export those pages into 55 graphics, and then we can upload them. So before we get into that, we now need to set up our InDesign file. So if we come back to this website and we look here, it does tell you that it accepts JPEGs, BMP files, PNG files, TIFFs and all the usuals. I would heavily suggest you don't do this in PDFs because they do charge for you to upload PDFs. So it's probably a little bit different in that sense to other print companies you may have worked with. Now the minimum resolution again is 1122 wide by 822 tall, as I am working in a landscape orientation with 300 dots per inch. So I've got that nice print quality crisp finish, and each file size has to be less than 32 meg. So it tells you everything that you need right there. Okay, so in our InDesign files, we're going to create new, and as you can see, I've been playing with different designs. We're going to change this to pixels, and as you can see, I've already populated this. Like I said, I've been playing already, but you just need to make sure you've got the orientation around the correct way, and you put your width and height in, click create. Now this is just, let me just reduce that down to 75% of the normal file size so we can see everything. So if you've worked with InDesign before, you are probably familiar that it shows you the actual page here, but we want to look at the master file. So if I just move my screen a little bit, you can see now that the blue section here is my master file, so it's all highlighted. So I'm designing my master file right now. So this is all the content that's going to go on my card that isn't going to change. It's the same static image, background image through all of these 55 cards, and then in the page 1 here is where I will then put the dynamic text. So there is a couple of parts to this. So in order to just quickly skip on through, this isn't a graphic design tutorial, so I'm just going to literally design my card right now. Okay, so one of the things that you want to just check that when you have finished with everything, if you do select your page and then try and click on all of these items, none of it should be able to be editable, which is exactly what we want it to do. You can only edit if you have the master file selected. Now there's just one more thing I need to do with the master file, and the reason I want to show you this now is because I actually want to put a number of my card, so that when people are shuffling the cards or they want to just count that they've not lost a card, that kind of thing, they can just quickly flick through and see that there is a, you know, we're looking at top tip number 52 as it were, or something like that. So I am going to make sure that I'm in my master file, and I'm just going to put a little text box down in the corner here. Okay, and I am literally just going to go up to type, special character, markers, current page number. Now it's got to put a tiny little A there, which is a placeholder text. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to center align that in the box. I'm going to make the font about 48. If we now go to pages, we can test that that is doing its job by clicking on the page, and it should have the number 1, which it does. I am just going to make that little box a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, so now if we go to page number 1, we have now got our file, and as you can see, I'm trying to click on the page and nothing is happening, which is perfect. So all of these graphics now are locked in like kind of the background or in the master file. Next, we need to create a text holder for the actual dynamic data that's going to change that we've just created in our Excel spreadsheet that we just saved into our text file. So just for the moment, now this is where I like to play, because I'm going to go to my text file and I'm just going to take the very longest piece of text, because this is the worst case scenario of data that we have to accommodate, and I'm going to paste it in here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to style it, because everything else should fit based on our efforts. Right, so I've made sure the box itself has got plenty of space, because I don't want to create any error reports where text has fallen off the edge of the bounding box and we've lost it. So I am happy with my kind of layout. Now, obviously that's not the text that I want to use. So for the moment, I'm going to now delete that and just put some X's there. And I'm going to select it. Right, so what we need to do is replace these X's with a field that is going to be populated with our content. So we're going to go up to Window, if it's not already, Utilities and Data Merge. And you're going to get this box. And the first thing, now it gives you some instructions, but essentially you need to click in the top right corner and select Data Source. Then obviously you've got to find the file that you saved, the .txt file that we saved. Going to click on OK, and now you can see it's saying the word data. Remember, that was the column name, and that was the very first line of information that we had in that field. So I'm going to click on that, and as you can see now, it's kind of got that column name showing where the data is going to be placed on the screen, which is ironic because that's why I called it data. Okay, so everything is set up just the way I want it to be. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back up to this little box, and we are going to come down where it says create merged document. Now, I have had a play and I haven't touched any of the settings. I think you just need to leave it as it is and click on OK. Now, just in case this happens, I've got 3 monitors and there's a little like kind of a progress bar that keeps popping up, but it keeps popping up on a different screen. And whilst it's doing its thing, because obviously it's quite data heavy on the resources on the memory and things on the computer, I don't want to touch that. So if that happens, what I am going to do is just really quickly, so you can see how this works, I am going to create a folder that I'm going to create these in. So let me just bring this up now. And let's put a folder in here for my playing cards. So Latin text individual cards. So I know what they are. Okay, so we are going to look at this in just a moment. So it's empty at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to click on OK. Right, now it doesn't look like anything's happening. We've got, there was no over text, which is fine. That's the answer we want. If you get a report, that's because you've made the bounding box too small and text is there, but it's not visible. So I'm going to click on OK. And as you can see now on the right hand side, it's still kind of populating a little bit. Let me just move myself. You can see now that I have 52, or was it 55 pages? There we go, 54 and 55. We've now got all of these different cards and we can click on them, and you can see here, because I wanted to put that in just so that we could show that we are using different text. So everything seems to be hunky-dory. That's all good. Okay, so let's get rid of this box. Now what we need to do is File, Export. Where's it gone? There we go. You need to select JPEG from the options. Obviously look for that folder that you want to put it in. Playing cards. There's my folder. It's empty. I'm going to click Save. Okay, and then we're just going to leave all the settings as they are. Don't need to touch anything. Just click on Export. Now, it doesn't look like much is happening. My little pop-up has turned up on the other screen, so I can't show you it. But what I can do is if I show you this file now, you can see that it's creating all my cards for me, and I have to sit here patiently and do this. Now, you obviously, I didn't name this because I'm doing this quite quickly, but it might have helped you to call this card social media cards or whatever it is, coaching cards, prompt cards, whatever the project is that you're designing. I'm going to give this a couple of minutes and come back when it's finished. You can randomly pick on any card now for a quick preview. You can see that it's different text, the card numbers showing nicely in the corner. My computer's still just thinking about things a little bit, but now we have our files ready to upload and finish the process with the Making Card website. Okay, so this is where we left it earlier on in the video, customizing the back of the cards, part number 3. Now we have our images, we can upload them. Now, there is no quick and easy way around this. You essentially just need to select every single one. The easiest way to do that is click on the first card, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard and click the last card. That will select every single one, and you click on Open. Now this will take you a while, and obviously it's based on your internet connection speed as to how quickly it's going to populate and upload all those 55 images. And remember, images are quite meaty in size, file size, so that's a lot of data it has to transfer from your computer up into this website. So again, I'm just going to wait for this to happen, and then we will show you the next step. Okay, and if you look down here, it does have the progress, 19 cards out of 55, so it does keep you updated as to how far through this process you are. It's perfect time to go make yourself a cup of tea, come back, and it'll all be done. Whilst that's uploading still, I just thought I'd point out, obviously you've got the outline of the card itself, but this little red dotted line, and it was the same on step 1 when we uploaded the front of the image. This is your safety zone. So when you're setting up your InDesign file, something I probably didn't mention and should have done is, obviously when you're taking that width of being, you know, whatever it is, like 1122 or something, that is literally edge to edge, and then you've got to allow the 3mm bleed area for where they're going to cut the cards to make sure that the ink then spreads right to the edge of the card, so that the printer itself will obviously, and the print as it were, will have something to hold on to, and it can get that nice crisp image for you. But I would then say you do another 3mm inside your cut line, so that you've got a safety line, which is this red mark here of where your text and your content, because you don't want to be cutting out half a word or something like that. So when you set up the file, do the dimensions for the file itself that they suggest, and then realistically your safety line is going to be around about 6mm in from the edge. The other thing that I haven't done yet, which you can do, is if you need to save this project and come back to it, maybe you need to set it all up and get someone to sign off on it before you can process the order. It helps you to name the project. I'm not going to do this right this precise second whilst I'm uploading, because I don't want to upset the website, but essentially you can name the project. So for example, I could put this as social media playing cards, or Latin text cards as it were. In the future I might design one on something, you know, a daily marketing topic for each week of the year or something, I don't know. But essentially you can name the project and then it will save it in your site, which is another reason why it's handy to log on first of all before and create your account before you start this process. Okay, so the last card is just about to be uploaded there, 55 images of 55, and it's job done. Now, if you look carefully here in the green text that they have, it says you can drag and drop the images to the left, or you can double click. Now, I think it could be quite an easy way to get yourself muddled as to where you are if you drag and drop. So I'm going to try the double click method. So 1, 2, and you literally just do this for every card. And if you do it in order, it will, there we go, I've missed one. See, this is why it's got to be careful. You just got to make sure that by the time you've finished, every single card that you've uploaded has got a click. And when you've finished that, you can then add your entire project to your shopping cart to finish the purchase process. So one of the other reasons that I've chosen to do this double click method is because I didn't want to have to scroll up and down the screen. And as you can see, it does make things quite nice. So by the time you finish, you can then scroll down the entire screen and see all your cards. Now it's starting to really look like a deck of playing cards now. So it's all coming together really nicely, and you can see that every single one has been done. So I've obviously missed a card somewhere. Let's see if I've got a missing. Oh, there we go. Look, see, you've only got to miss one. You've got to pay attention. There we go. Okay, so all my cards are now done. I would suggest that if that happens to you, be careful, because it does mean that when they print these cards and now package them, my cards are essentially going to be out of order. But you get the idea, and I just want to skip on through now so that we can finish this tutorial. So scroll back to the top of the page, and we are going to, we could have named it as we said earlier on. We're just going to click on next step. I don't want to add any text to the back of the card, which is step number 4. So it gives me an example here now. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to skip to number 5 because I've done it all in the InDesign file. And then we can preview and add it to cart. We're getting to preview, so front of the card, back of the card. Does look a little bit weird, as in the only thing I think I've picked up on here that's different is that they have got a different tone of card, and that is because this one is designed in InDesign. So the back of the card's been in InDesign and the front of the card was done in Photoshop. So it might be something you just want to check on. I haven't noticed that before, so again, it's, you kind of live and learn as you go along. But I'm going to go, yes, I can confirm that these images are fine. I'm going to add them to the cart. The page will reload. There we go, my cart's up here. So there you can see my entire project. It's going to cost me $13.90. I've ordered a plastic protector, a blank one, just because I want to see what's going on, and then I've done my sample pack as well. So I obviously am not going to place this particular order, but I do want to know what the cost is going to be for sending this. So I'm going to go to checkout. Okay, and oh, actually I've just noticed down the bottom here you can actually turn that into GBP, for example, if you're in the UK like myself. Would you like to add a box for your card decks? No, thanks. Trying to obviously do an upsell to me there. The page is now loading, that's fine, so I'll give it a second. And I just want to see what it would be to post it to the UK before I finish this tutorial today. Right, so obviously I've blurred out my particular personal details, but as you can see here, it's now populating some of the shipping methods for me, which is all good. Now obviously I'm not going to place this order, but if I wanted to place just one set of cards right now to see what was going on, this is standard, would be fine. Takes 19 to 22 days, so it's something that I could possibly order now, which means when it does turn up, I've got something that I can work with in order to promote on my website. If I wanted it faster, obviously we're looking at like almost $45. That's the price you pay for working with a company overseas, but I just couldn't find a UK supplier that did something similar to this service. We can add in registered mail there, as it were, and away we go. So I think for now that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm hopefully you guys found this really useful, and it does mean that hopefully you guys will get the benefit of being able to now design some of your own prompt social media cards, question cards, depending if you're a coach, a marketing guru and whatnot. So I hope that really does give you some food for thought, and if you haven't before, please do subscribe. It does mean a lot to me when you guys support a small channel like myself. I love what I do, so please do subscribe, stay notified, and I'll see you on another video real soon.